What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Lolos and More. And today we are back at it at the frame. I got the frame pretty much done. I got my chain mounts on. I got my fuel tank brackets on. I went through and double checked if I need to weld anything or if I missed anything on top. I added a few pieces here and there. I added these little tabs that I'm going to use to zip tie electrical wiring to. I did it to the inside too. So I went ahead and added my tubes. I'm going with fat competition cylinders in the front, so hopefully those hold up pretty well. I got those from High Hitter. Reinforced the pockets and everything like that. Reinforced or welded wherever I could. Like I said, this frame is really different from anything else. It's a Dodge frame, so it's not like a Nissan, Ford, or any other G-Body or Impala Cadillac that you're going to bump into. Those are easier to make plates for and to weld the plates to. Just for my truck, it's not easy. Well, I mean, it's not that it's not easy. It's just it's different, right? So, I'm gonna go ahead, take a grinder wheel with the wire wheel on a grinder, take off the little fucking little slabs or whatever you want to call it. Is it perfect? Hell no, it's far from perfect. Am I gonna leave it like this? Yeah, I'm gonna leave it like this. Why? Because I don't feel like I need to make it perfect. I'm not gonna make it into a show hopper like I kind of wanted to, because I'm gonna tear it up. I'm gonna tear this truck up. So yeah, that's pretty much the plan. Tear it up on the pavement and see what it can do. So yeah, I'm just gonna go with hit the grinder in a few different places like this, right here, just a few little places like that, and then just take the wire wheel to the whole frame, flip it over, and I can continue on the rear end. Let's see. Now all I got to do to the rear end is make the bottom reinforcement for it. Make the bottom bridge and then make plates for the front and the back. I still haven't decided if I'm going to make a plate that covers this area too. I haven't decided on that yet, but we'll see when we get to that. If I don't do that, then for sure I will make a plate. I'll integrate it into the plate that I'm going to make for the back. Maybe not for the front, but maybe for both front and back plates. But because this is I don't remember if I made this out of 1 tubing or 3 tubings. I don't remember, but the plate that I'll make, if I don't fill that in, it'll have the plate will continue up here and go down, and it'll reinforce the upper part as well. So yeah, that's the next thing to do right now. Because I did add stuff to the frame, like these gussets on the corners on the front and the back of the belly. I need to flip it over. Once I flip it over, I need to finish welding those, weld the other sides of these tabs that I added on, and just like that, for example, I added that for reinforcement just in case these are holding a lot of weight when this thing's up in the air. So flip the frame over, weld the other sides, and that's pretty much it. And I can start priming the frame and start bolting stuff to it that I have ready so far. I do still need to build my uppers and lowers and decide what I'm going to do for the front suspension. I think I'm going to go with the G-Body suspension in the front. By that I mean the knuckles, pretty much I'm going to use those, and then I'm pretty sure I'm going to have to cut up G-Body A-arms and integrate them into my A-arms so I can get rid of that weird ball joint that my truck comes with, because it's like a big screw-on ball joint, and it the threads do get messed up on it, so it's not ideal to be hopping on that anymore. Time to change it up to something that can easily be swapped out if needed. But yeah, that's the next game plan. Go through it with the wire wheel, grind some spots down, flip it over, and then work on the rear end. And then yeah, we're almost there. We're almost there. But yeah, it's I haven't been working on it as much as I've loved to, just because I had both the kids were in different sports. So yeah, and finally their season is over, so now we're back at it again. Okay, so I'm gonna shut the camera off. I'm gonna go ahead and hit this with the wire wheel, and then you'll probably see me continuing working on the rear end, and then we'll be right back. So let's see where I'm gonna be after that. Yeah, and I'm not sure if I did mention, but I'm gonna go ahead and reinforce the insides of this pocket, because this is where the bumper mounts to, and it's gonna take the most beating, and I don't want this part of the frame buckling up. So I'm gonna take some of that C-channel that I have on the floor, make a little template, fit it in here, weld it, and then I'll come on the outside and drill out a few holes so I can still mount the bumper. But that's about it. I'm gonna go ahead and get to it, and let's see how much I can get done. All right, I went ahead, like I said, took the wire wheel and a flat wheel, pretty much to the whole frame. There's certain areas that I haven't done yet, like the bridge, this cross member, and the body mounts and bed mounts here. But other than that, it's pretty much done. I can pretty much start primering the frame and getting it ready for paint. But yeah, I did any last minute welds, welded the top of the tubes down on both sides, grinding down any sharp edges, and then mainly just all with the wire wheel and flat wheel took care of that, of the sharp edges. Other than that, it's gonna stay pretty much how you see it now. Like I said, yeah, it's not pretty, but yeah, it's gonna be beat up anyways once I install it. And I'm gonna start beating up the minute I'm done doing the swap. So like I said, I was going to do the rear end after, and I began with a template. So this is for the bottom brace right here, doing the bottom brace of the axle right here. So kind of hard to do with one hand, but hopefully you got the idea. Let's see. So pretty much I made the template of how I want my lower member, man, I just said it too, but you guys know what I mean, of the section that I'm going to put down here, the brace. So I got the angle that I want and how low I want it to go. I don't want it to go very low, because I am going to use pretty thick plate to pretty much plate the rear end. So this little template is just to help me make my lower brace. So I took a piece of 1/4 inch 3 by 1.5 tubing, 1/4 inch thick, pretty thick, and just pretty much cut little by little and got the measurements that I need, and I got it to fit perfectly. So this brace is now ready to be installed. So what I did was, this is just all one piece right here, one single piece, and because it's not a square tubing, it's a rectangle tubing. The angle that I had to cut was not going to be precise to where I can get it to shut with the lower piece of the brace. So the piece that I cut out, I cut those pieces in half, shoved the piece in there as you can see it, and welded it up on both sides. So because that's a pretty big hole for the angle that I was going for, so this is still one whole big piece. So that's what I really wanted to do. I didn't want to do it into 3 pieces because I didn't want to have this eventually in the future, crack off and then, break. That would be embarrassing. So as long as you can make it, if you can make it one piece, the better. If not, we'll make sure your welds really penetrate. So the brace is now ready for me to put it on there, but I do need a bevel the edges of the tubing right here of where it's going to attach to the axle. So I just need to bevel those and attach it here. Just take this into consideration. So your bolt for your lower trailing arms, make sure you leave enough room for your bolt to go through on both sides. Okay, you don't want to shoot yourself in the foot. Made it really close to the brackets, and then you can't even get your bolt through the hole. So keep that into consideration. All right, I'm gonna bevel that, tack it to the axle. I'm gonna go ahead and cut some supports out, right, like these tubings, cut it short, and pretty much just put them right here. That way the axle is a lot more reinforced. Just putting, the C-channel on both sides of the axle already adds a lot of strength, but putting in some extra bracing right here really helps to keep it from bending. So I'm gonna go ahead, take care of that, and then we'll be right back, and then we'll see what's next. All right, I am doing my template for the rear end on the back end. So pretty much what I'm doing to do this a little bit easier. So what I first did was I laid tape on the axle first, laid it on there, put 2 layers of tape so it's kind of thick, so it doesn't really move on you. And then I took the tape off the axle and put it on a piece of poster board, and then you can start cutting out the poster board, the pieces that you don't need, and then put it back on the axle like I did right now, just to make sure that it's still good, and it is. So now what I'm going to do is go ahead, cut out my board, cut out of steel, and then I think I'm gonna go ahead and make the front one as well. The front is identical a little bit besides this area. So when I cut my plate for the other side, all I gotta do is just pretty much give myself some extra material. So instead of cutting it right here, I'm gonna cut it like in this area. So give myself an extra 2 to 3 inches around, so I can weld it to the other side of the pumpkin of the axle. So that's what I'm doing right now. So by the time we come back, I'll have the plates cut out and tacked into place, and then the axle will be pretty much almost done by that point. So yeah, let me get to it. We'll be right back. All right, I got my braces in the center welded into place. I just need to weld them on the ends right here on both sides, and then grind it down so the plates that I made can sit flush So I'm gonna go ahead, hit it with the wire wheel, hit it with the flat wheel on the corners. So again, so the plate can set flush. I cut out both plates. Here's my back plate. Here's the front plate. As you guys can see, oh crap. They are different. Just so you know, they're gonna be different when you cut them out. My front plate is gonna be about 3.5 inches short on each side, just because I was running out of material. I thought I had plenty, but this isn't bad. It's not. What the plate that I was really worried about was the rear plate. That plate is completely to the length that I need it. I used my plasma cutter to, quickly do everything that I needed, so I'm not sitting with a cutting wheel and then changing the cutting wheel every few minutes. So I got the edges that I needed. So now all I gotta do is just hit this with a flat wheel on the corners, on the side that I'm gonna lay the plate on, so that there's a bevel, so I can weld it to the axle. That's one thing you want to make sure there's a bevel. So for example, my plate, the way it sits right now, is going to sit on axles just like that. So I need a bevel the back side of the plate like that at an angle, so that the weld penetrates. So I'm gonna go ahead, weld it up, clean it up, and then tack the rear plate on tonight. It's getting pretty late, so by the time we come back, you're gonna see the front plate tacked on. So we'll see you in a second. Alright, I got the axle 98% done, and what I mean, the other 2% is I need to weld on my chain mounts for the axle. I was gonna do the how would you say it, the old school way, where everybody just sticks a piece of square tubing with drills holes through them and then welds it to the axle. I'm not gonna do it that way, because if for any reason that I'm putting too much stress on the chains, and the chains are really strong, and if for any reason it can start bowing out the material right here, because the center part of the C channel is not welded to the frame, only the ends, right? And then you got the plate on both sides holding it down as well, but right here in the middle is the weak part, because there's nothing there holding it to the axle itself. So if there's too much tension, and if I'm hopping and all of a sudden the axle wants to kick out just a little bit, it'll start pulling this, and and there is a chance that this will rip. It'll just rip off. So what I'm gonna do is I did order some tabs. They should be here any day now. There are tabs that are like they have a 90-degree angle on them. They look just like these mounts, but there's like two single plates that I can space out as much as I want, and then they're gonna be mounted right here to the back with a 90-degree angle, and not only it'll be strong because it'll be on the C channel and on the plate like this. So yeah, both big plates are on there. I'm just gonna go ahead, hit the grinder with the flat wheel on the edges, just so it's not so jaggedy. I wish I did a little bit better, but there's a time crunch now, so I need to hurry up and get some stuff out of the way. So I began working on my trailing arm brake line mounts. So what I've decided is I'm going to mount my my little distribution block right here in between my two mounts, and for that cleaner looking way, I'm mounting the hardline, the brake hardline, on the upper trailing arm on the driver's side right here. So I'm just gonna have this flex hose come from here to connecting to the trailing arm right here, and it'll go along this tubing. Well, this is just all thread to help me keep this straight, and then it'll go off and attach to the frame probably right about over there, right above the mount, trailing arm mount. So this way it'll be a lot cleaner look. I won't have a piece of hose hanging down from the frame down to the axle, um, and hoping that it doesn't get pinched anywhere. And if you pay attention, a lot of hoppers just do that, and it does not look clean. Like I said, I'm not gonna try and win any awards with the frame. What I'm saying is, you want to try and make some things look cleaner or just better engineered. So I got my tabs tacked on. Now I'm ready to go ahead and pull the all thread out and completely weld the tabs up. Then I'm gonna sand the trailing arms down, and then they're gonna be ready for paint. All of them are ready, so they're ready for paint. Frame is ready for paint. This will be ready for paint in a few days, and yeah, it's coming together nicely the way I kind of want it. So let me go ahead, wheel those tabs on, and I guess we'll be right back. For some of you that are probably wondering what I'm doing is the hose, the little distribution block, it'll go from this flexible hose to this fitting right here. This is a fitting. Let's see, I can't take it off with one hand. Well, maybe I can. I don't know. Maybe not. But anyways, the fitting has this nut on there, so you can mount the fitting to whatever you want it to go through. And that's when I'm going to do it. It'll be on those tabs. So, and in between it will be a hard line, of course. Duh. Alright, so let me take care of that. I'm going to go ahead and mount a distribution block to that. Well, just to mock it up, to get it ready. And then I guess we'll see where I'm at once I get back, which for you will be a few seconds. For me, it will be about a day or two. Okay, let me get to work. Alright, well, now I'm at this point on the build. So let me see, touch up on a few things. So that is my spare carrier bearing mount right there that I'm getting ready to cut the inner brackets out of this angle right here. After I make my cuts, clean it up, drill some holes, and then weld it up to the frame, and that part will be ready to go. Like I mentioned before, I have to make a couple of modifications, and then it'll be time to lift up the motor and just mock it up over there. I'm gonna obviously bring it down because that's kind of dangerous of how high I have it right now. But yeah, I mean, it's going. This did not take as long as I thought it was gonna take. Let's see. Let's see. I worked on. Let's see, when I began taking it apart. Let's see. On day 1, I worked on it for an hour and a half. On day 2, I worked on it for about 3 hours, and then day 4 would have been another 3 hours, maybe, give or take. And then the day after that, it was just maybe 2 hours. So it didn't take long. I just try not to lose the nuts and bolts, just to remember where they go. I put them individually in plastic snack bags and labeled them. So yeah, my kids helped me out with that. But yeah, it's time to take off what I don't need, trash it, so I can start getting rid of this big piece of right here, so I can get out of my way, so I'm not taking up so much space over here. Yeah, that's all I'm doing right now, is just moving stuff out of the way so I can get to the motor mounts easier on this side. On the passenger side, it's a lot easier to get to. let's see, the fluids that I had to drain were the transmission, and the coolant fluid that come up to my radiator. The power steering, all I did was unmount it from the engine. So when I pull the engine up, the power steering is still gonna stay in place. So I don't have to deal with the fluid on that. Even when I'm transferring it over, I don't have to deal with it. All I have to do is clean it up, maybe paint it, and then mount it on over there without releasing any of the fluid. But right now, if you have never done your power steering fluid change, right now would be the best time to do it. Pretty much, if your motor needs any maintenance done, now is the time to do it, because you have a whole lot of room to do it. Before I put the body back onto the frame, I'm gonna go ahead and paint in between the bed and the cab, paint underneath the bed, paint underneath the cab and the firewall right now while it's off. My kids are eating breakfast right now, so they're gonna go ahead and start sanding it, prepping it. I'm gonna give them a face mask and everything so they can help me with that part. And yeah, like right now, yeah, that's a good time to do it. If you want to fully paint your ride the right way, right now is the time to do it. If you're doing a frame off, I don't know if I don't know. I think I should cut the video short right here. Really, I think maybe we should cut it right here, and then we'll continue next time. Because all that, like I said, I'm doing is just mocking up some last minute things that I need to take care of. I'm also gonna go ahead and mock up my leaf spring mount for the front. This is giving me a good idea right now of what I have to work with, so I can do it over there. Yep, I think it's time. I'll probably have to catch you guys on the next one. So don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.